And welcome back. We actually have somebody hanging out in the chat right now. Welcome, welcome. Welcome back to our regular game of Thrayne, a custom-built D&D world here on the Forever DMs. That actually, fun announcement, we're going to give a shot with doing weekly and just see if we can actually keep up with our lives while
Boop,
we do that
boop.
as well. Weekly Tuesdays starting at 7-ish p.m. And then this coming Saturday, right? I have my weeks right. Yeah, this
Correct.
coming Saturday, we have another episode of Breakfast and Dragons, or Stratera, where, as our DM Bill likes to say, the story is made up, but the trauma is real. And tune in for that very Lovecraftian-driven world. But for now, we're going to dive back into our story. Our group of adventurers meeting together in a town of Schema traveled north to Reese's homeland, where there was some sort of invasion, an invasion of giants. The strange and unknown of it, leaving a lot of tension along the way, strange encounters along the road with mythical beasts and folks very afraid for their lives and distrusting, until eventually you make your way to the town of Hamlock. Unfortunately, on your arrival, you found Hamlock ablaze, and within one of the buildings was a 9-foot tall, human looking ish creature, a giant of sorts. Emerging from the flames and fighting the party, Reese lay mortally wounded on the ground. Kai made a friend as the giant pointed his axe menacingly at him before making off with a crate full of metals stolen from the town. Finding no survivors, you continued further north, riding through the night in a forced march, trying to get word to Dunkelner as to what was happening. With the river and ferry across in sight, at night you found yourselves surrounded and confronted by a mounted host of warriors riding south from Dunkelner. Identifying yourselves and explaining your presence, that is where we pick up, my friends. The tall, aged warrior named Huskarl Truitt stands before you, Reese. The rest of you mounted behind Reese on your horses, because I know you guys.
What? Not us. We would never.
As Truitt stands there, you identify yourself as Reese, and he says, "I thought you'd be bigger."
Well, I'm not sure if I can do much about that.
There's a bit of a chuckle in the warriors surrounding you. Well, boys, looks like we've caught a witch. What are we going to do about it? And the chuckle continues as the spears raise and the swords sheath.
Very out of breath, I elbow Miss behind me. You take the ones on the left, I'll take the ones on the right.
I'll take none of them and continue to hide.
There's a sense of calming around you as these spears raise up into a rested position on the warrior's shoulders, and swords are being sheathed.
So you think they like tricks? And he'll Mist will like whisper back into his ear.
So you're
Who
from
doesn't?
Hamlock? So you're from Hamlock?
We passed through. There's not much left. We encountered the ones who did it, though.
Yeah. He nudges the head on the ground. Well, got what he deserved anyway.
Have you all fought them before?
A few of the lads have. Hey, Rowan! And he calls one of the other warriors over. Take the third fist, right south. Look for survivors. He starts trotting off into the distance. The warrior who called over mounts his horse and blows a quick succession of notes on his horn, and about a third of the warriors begin peeling off and riding south with him at a much less brisk pace. Rowan, a few of the others have. I've not had the honor, I guess, myself. But here we are.
I wouldn't be so quick to look for that honor. It's not anything I've ever seen before.
Looks again at the party and takes a torch from one of his men and raises it up kind of generally to get a better light. Well, he said you had strange friends. Right.
Well, what better way to fight giants than with a strange company?
Yeah,
Sounds
sure,
like a party name to me.
strange company. Or a band. It's fine.
We're pretty bad. We did a bad job. Maybe we should be bad company.
Until the day we die.
Anything is better than Sean's suggestion.
Wu-Tang!
I was about to say Juve knows of a clan named Wu-Tang.
Absolutely not.
No,
Who doesn't know
Be-
that clan?
vetoed.
I have an
it's a
ongoing
myth.
world that is infected by the Wu-Tang as it is. I cannot participate in a second.
And
can't.
I love Sean
I
for
can't.
that.
He's on the
I
march,
love
yeah.
it. I love it, but one is enough.
I
One is enough.
all I can say is there nothing to f with.
They are absolutely not.
Well,
No cap.
You certainly are strange company, but y'all look like hell.
We've been through hell,
It's been a day.
but I've got
Is that-
some salt if that counts for anything.
There's
After
a,
that, I think we're all full of salt.
there's a little twitch at the corner of his mouth when you mention salt.
Hmm.
Ah, right. Well, like I said, you look like hell. And then he looks over towards Jubei. At least he looks like he can handle it.
I barely could.
Oh. Ah,
Is the Jarl in Dunkelman?
I
I'd hate to say, but we need to talk to him. Probably quick.
I'll be writing on myself, but Meryl, another individual, emerges from the back of the pack, not heavily armored like the others, wearing simple traveling leathers and basic accoutrement, a bow on his back, very much a huntsman's bearing. This is all the Merrill. He'll take you back to the Dun. I'm gonna
Thank you, Merrill.
take the rest of these lads to Almer and make sure they're all right.
Right.
Right. Well, extends a hand out to you.
I'll shakily take it. Probably
His-
covered in blood.
His iron grip holds you just a moment longer. Roll an insight check.
Roll. It's a natural 20.
Ooh,
Becomes a 23.
starting off strong.
Yes.
The words that come out of his mouth are be true. But what he really means is, or I'll kill you.
Fair enough.
With a natural 20.
I feel like Reese has been in this exact situation before, so noted.
He releases your forearm and travel safe. The road should be clear from here to there.
Good.
Merrill will see you into the dun. And with a whistle and a rally, his horse is brought around. And the warriors begin backing away, leaving the lot of you and a gentleman by the name of Merrill.
I will remount and I guess follow behind Meryl.
Saley will
Lead the way.
continue on directly behind Reese.
Before drawing you away, Merrill waits. Not even really looking at you, kind of looking at the surrounding. Breathing deeply, smelling the wind, smelling the night. We should probably bring that with us.
Oh, I will unceremoniously hoist it up onto my horse.
You really took that down yourself.
Well, the lot of us. Aye.
They're not that impressive, just large.
And more than one.
I'm gonna speak up, obviously, with this warrior being that way. If I have to roll a perception, I will. Yeah, he did just all on his own. Very, very mighty warrior.
If you would like to try to roll a deception, you're welcome to.
Trying to talk my buddy up.
Yeah.
Just because I dropped to 0 doesn't mean I'm not a mighty warrior.
That would be a 19 on the die, so a +1, so a dirty 20.
Yeah.
There's a pause. And Merrill seems to be looking directly through you. And then he looks back at Reese and arcs an eyebrow.
Probably cough and some blood comes out.
Right, well, you got lucky.
Formidable. I'll take your head off.
You got lucky. You found a small one.
Oh,
And he turns
Sure.
his horse.
okay.
Oh, jeez.
This is a juvenile, guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna look back at everyone else concerned as hell. Yeah, I guess I'll follow after him.
The road, as he works his way between the rocks and back towards the main road, is well worn from here. The crossroads past and the regularly traveled roads that Reese, you would know, were once called the Kingsways, are not necessarily maintained, but heavily trafficked, so impacted. Working your way down the hill towards the river, the flowing Sispin River passing before you, bringing ice-cold glacial waters out towards the sea. The temperature plummets as you get close to it. You have a bit of time in the travel. Is there anything you wish to say, do, etc.?
Probably too exhausted to say much. Unless someone comes up to Reese.
Not necessarily much to say, but Saley would just want to try and get a bead on just kind of the land and lay of things as we go between
Sure.
Hemlock and Dunkelner.
Sure.
Just to like really take in the surroundings and anything of note around, just being highly perceptive and on edge until we reach safety.
Roll a survival check for me, Sailor.
Dice are a thing. Let's see.
6.
Well, it's a 10 on the die, so that should be, if I'm pulling things up here correctly, a 17.
All right. Looking around, the rolling hills are much taller and more extreme. The hills and valleys are more intense than they were further south. The gentle rolling plains of the Herodran landscape, and then the terrain outside of the Schemen Woods being far more subtle. Here, there is a sense of upheaval. You know from legend and from lore within your lifetime that Losthren was struck by celestial bodies falling from the sky and leaving behind a decimated kingdom in its wake. And it can almost in your mind explain the boulder fields and the crags and the deep pitted valleys that you see around you in between the higher terrain. And as you get closer to the Sispin River, where the river cut through this higher terrain, creating a deep, almost canyon-like valley, you can see boulder fields all along it. Some of which can be equated to glacial travel, glacial ice flows and water flows, but some of it's going the wrong direction. As if coming from the east, where the largest body of celestial objects struck, and the crater that is now the sea is. And there's a moment, seeing the burned village and the encounter with the haunting, the refugees, and all touching and important for sure, but being one so in tune with nature is a different kind of impact that this land has experienced. And you see there are thousands of places where someone could hide. There are also thousands of places where creatures can make a den, and life can live and thrive and grow. But every looming shadow from the starlight could be a threat. And it kind of gives a different perception on what Reese may have been through. With that, though, your keen elven eyes see no immediate danger.
Noted. They would definitely remain on edge, as though danger could lurk around any corner as we proceed forward, though. And
Certainly.
would, given repeated events of late, be keeping very close to Reese.
Hey now.
Listen.
No. Get it.
There is only one other person in this party that they are aware of that can heal, besides you. So,
Can I speak to Merrill? Was that his name?
He doesn't block off or remain unapproachable, but he does not seek out conversation unless it is sought.
I'm seeking it.
Well,
sucking. I was gonna say sucking.
Hey,
Oh, sucky now.
Does that make
Been
you
shook.
a super player? I'm not sure what's happening here. Okay, go ahead.
How fare your people in Dunkenler?
Things are tense but quiet at home. Nothing important or particularly dangerous.
Then
I
you have
suppose.
not fought them.
I have. Not at the Dun.
Are they afraid of approaching, or why do you think they have not fought?
I have my theories, but with deference to the blade you carry, I don't trust you. So, take that for what you will.
I understand. You do
Oh
not know me.
snap!
Go ahead, guy.
I said I understand. You do not know me.
That is true. If the Jarl trusts you, that would go a long way, but Neville left you alive, so that's got to count for something, I suppose. I am the
But-
Jarls of Ald. You are
Sorry.
not from here, so you do not know what that means.
I do not. Your language is strange to me. It is not my first.
The man you spoke with back there, Huskar Truitt. He is the Master Huskarl of the Dun. He is what would be a good analogy? The champion of
I see.
the castle. He has our Lord's ear. I am many years ago the word Ald meant hunter. Now it translates more to shadow.
You are Shadow.
I am a knife in the dark.
Then may you be a deadly one.
It is not my job to trust.
Fair enough.
Reese, you hear this. And you've heard of Alds.
Right.
Jarl's Ald. It's your first interaction with one? And they
Right.
were always like a boogeyman or kid story. Like
Would-
never
wouldn't-
real.
Would my
So
father
Re-
have ever mentioned them
Reese
as
is
someone
sitting
who
here
made the
like,
bows?
Reese is sitting here like, oh shit, and Kai's like, yeah, alright, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, whatever.
Roll a history check.
Okay. Wow. I rolled at 18. I think it's plus 0. Yeah. So just 18.
No.
He said.
Yeah, I'm
you're
just gonna white
18.
knuckle my saddle. Ugh.
That's all I had, Gabe. I didn't have anything in particular I was trying to get out.
Question. He mentions the sword though. Do I put 2 and 2 together and realize the emblem on the sword?
Pardon?
Didn't he mention the sword
He mentioned my
that Kai
sword.
is wearing?
Yes.
Would Reese put
As-
together the symbol on the sword? Or just...
You gather that it's flowery language for no offense, but I
You
don't
carry a
trust
weapon.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So while this whole conversation's going on, especially in kind of correlation with Selu's check of like every potential shadow being a bad guy, Mist is like cuddled up behind Jubei as close as possible and like just crudely scribbling with their cartographer set to try to get this side of the river too, because they haven't done anything since Lemon Farm.
Yeah. Sure.
Gribble.
When you approach the ferry, it's very similar to the ferry at the Lemon Farm, but much larger. It is managed by a team of oxen and far more of a permanent structure, or a permanent fixture rather than just a raft that goes across. But it is a ferry rather than a bridge. But you are carried across at a word from Merrill and a few gold handed to the tenders of the ferry. And travel north. And at this point, you came downhill to come into the region. And now you're going uphill and up and up to a higher elevation than you have been traveling at. Until in the distance, you see, for some of you, the largest single structure you've ever seen.
Me.
Yeah, it you. Traveling up the hill, nestled on top of the largest outcropping nearby.
When it comes into sight, I say to Merrill, or like in his general direction, I see now why they did not attack.
That legitimately elicits a chuckle. It would not be wise. Nestled into the hill, built into the terrain, are towering walls and braziers lit on parapets, lighting up. You can see the glint of steel of armed soldiers traveling across. And as it is the wee hours of the morning at this point, colloquially like 1, 2 o'clock from your ride, the travel through Helen, the town at the foot of the hill, is a blur. Stone walkways and stone paved, cobblestone-esque roads leading up, switchbacks up to the castle itself. Until eventually you find yourself at the gates. Massive wood and steel bars slide to the side, opening gates large enough for a modern day freight train to go through. 20 feet tall. 2 wagons abreast could pass through this. Into a very, very large courtyard. And the ancient stonework around you of the main structure is very evident in comparison to the residence, which is a more modern, big air quotes, modern structure, brick laid and windows and more modern sconces and braziers around, even glass in some of the windows. Whereas the fortress itself is ancient stone, there for generations and generations.
You Selu would probably hear the biggest like breath intake and like blowing out like, like and then following Meryl into the courtyard. Visible stress.
Led into the courtyard, there is an immediate gasp from some of the soldiers or workers about. Even being the dead of night, there is still business to be done. As a human, an elf, a half-orc, a dragonborn, and a tiefling enter this, that you're aware of, entirely human settlement. And Truitt immediately, Meryl immediately leads you around an alley in between the Great Wall and the Fortress Keep in the center to a smaller stable off to the side. You can leave your horses here. They'll be well tended to. And he dismounts and leaves his horse and walks into a door set in the side of the keep.
I give it a look to Kai and then look at the stable and like shrug.
He would not leave his horse if it was not safe. And I'm trying to be quicker to trust. Plus, Navarro will kill him if he mistreats her.
Reese just smiles and dismounts. Pats his horse.
Checks out, yeah.
Fair enough.
Jubei. The stonework, very different. The architecture, incredibly different. But the feeling is the same. The castle on edge. In the quiet of night. It's peaceful in its own way, but reminds you of places. But following Meryl into the keep, the structure of the fortress, again, the halls are 20 feet tall, massive arches of ancient worked stone. He rounds the corner, knocks open a door. This'll do. Wait in here, if you please. I'll see if the Lord's awake.
Yes, thank you.
As we head into this large structure, anybody half paying attention might see Selu look anxious and uncomfortable.
Kai is just very in awe.
I feel
I
your
will
pain, Selu.
the hand. Yeah,
I
hand
I
on
feel
his
your-
shoulder.
I feel your pain, Selu. It was a very rough ride for the Tukis. And I just kind of pat Selu and walk off.
Who is Tukus?
The ride is not what bothers me. The air barely stirs in these walls.
They're very stuffy. We
Now
built
that you
our
pointed out, it is quite strange.
settlements this big, but of wood and paper. And it's very breathable. Large sections of wall open up to reveal nature and bring it in. This place.
It smells.
I think we're a bit more practical here.
I don't
And
think I've ever felt quite so enclosed.
feels like you're below the earth.
These stories we would tell it would explain it as man's dominance over the world around it.
It's a bit jarring.
You'll get used to it.
No, you won't. And then casually walks off again.
I think
Hopefully we won't be here long.
I think I'd rather not.
This explains the people of this land. Very dreary architecture, very dreary people.
Meryl.
Regardless,
Meryl asks you to wait in the room and then leaves before you've even entered it. But you do see him nod at an alcove. And in the alcove, you can see a shape of a soldier standing there.
Hmm.
It's that feeling that you are being watched.
Of course. I'll walk into the room. Guess just awkwardly stand there, not know what to do.
Battle music.
Selu follows along. They're not like hesitant to enter or anything along those lines, but this is far from their comfort zone, so to speak.
And the space you're in is a waiting room of sorts. There are simple benches and a table, and then no food on it. It is very much function over form. But as you sit there and look around, the stonework really is incredible. The arches and lodestones at the top of the peaks of these rooms are gorgeously and perfectly symmetrical. And the Reese, you've heard legends of the first men that were here, the first settlers of what was Lothran that survived the calamity years and years and years and years before, and the wonders that they could write. And Selu, that comment about the wind comes back to you as you feel a gentle breeze come through the space.
Can I tell where from?
Comes from the hallway. Doesn't feel pointed or forced by any means. It feels natural.
There's a visible like relaxation in Selu as they note what feels like a natural flow of air.
Reese probably collapses into a chair or bench and holds out his hand. Make sure there's no one else in this little room with us, right? They were outside.
Yeah, if you close the door, you are theoretically private. There's a window. It's high up, like not easily scalable.
I will look at my companions. Does anyone still look hurt?
Yes, but I'm not like, I don't know.
But like
I'm not-
visible wounds, though.
Yeah.
Then Reese probably starts juggling the little fireflies in his hand. They're like dim, not very like bright or anything. And then like looks at Kai and looks at himself and looks at Kai, and then just releases them like little. And you take a little bit of healing.
I'm like.
But then they land and they're nice and warm.
Kai stands there for a minute, and he looks over at you, and then he like looks down at his belt, and then he looks back over at you, and then he like walks over, and and I pull out that that amulet, or it was like a stone that I took off the giant.
Oh yeah.
I think this does magic.
What? Why do you think that? And I like pull out my amulet that like they gave us before. It doesn't look like this.
Okay, look, it's going to sound strange.
Reese starts to look like suspicious.
Selu just like leans in, waiting for this explanation.
My ancestors told me.
He looked at it with the intention and the emotion.
No,
Reese just shrugs with a knowing smile.
Okay, maybe.
As soon as Miss says something, he looks over at like a pleading look on his face, like, shit, that wasn't supposed to say anything.
Reese will slowly get up, probably like gingerly, and walk over to look at the amulet. Does it look anything special, or is it pretty mundane looking?
Gabe, I think you're muted there, bud.
Yeah.
Thank you. It is a simple leather cord and a very crudely wrought, almost teardrop shaped stone. Looks ordinary, piece of granite.
I think it is for.
Ooh, piece of granite.
I think it is for protection of some sort.
If you think that it has any kind of magic in it, then keep it. It would be handy. I'm not sure if I could tell you what it does.
But you do magic.
Look, I can do the magic, but this is... I'm not even sure how this works, and I hold up, like, Bazila's amulet. I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't even know how Selu does what they do.
This is difficult for me to understand.
Or you do your ancestor thing with the energy out of your chest and stuff.
This is what I speak of. It is difficult for me to understand. How can someone do something without understanding what it is?
How do you see without understanding how to see, or feel, or hear? Do you understand how you hear things?
Well, I've been doing that all my life. I was born that way.
Perhaps you have always had this, but now you see it.
Kai, many of the things that I tend to do have been happening for a large swath of my life. They just happen. I thought them normal until someone pointed it out.
I start taking off my armor and look over at Kai during this conversation. It's faith. It's what it is. It's not knowing how something is, but knowing that you can do it is you have faith in your abilities. You have faith in where they come from.
I have faith in my ancestors. They travel with me.
And they have faith in you.
That is enough.
I can take food and cook a delicious meal and eat it and digest it. I don't know how my insides work, but I know it's going to be shit.
So you think I should listen to them?
Yeah.
I think he's telling you to eat it.
I'm
not
sure about eating it.
I have faith that it will turn to shit.
I don't.
I would smirks. Like,
I don't have ancestors like you do, or
so of course you do.
Father like like Mist, or whatever it is that Selu does. But I think Jube is correct that there's a bit of believing that it just works. You don't need to know how it works to use it.
I think that's why I can't use it. I don't have faith in it.
This is how Jube becomes a cleric.
Is this something that you still struggle with even after seeing it work?
No, it's obviously a piece of our world. I believe it exists. But I've seen you and you do things for the greater good. My brief experience with magic before meeting you lot, and you see him kind of get lost in the moment for a second, and being a usual very happy guy, this look of sorrow comes over his face. Someone used magic to dishonor a traditional ritual in my people. And it was someone that I held in a lot of respect and who I loved and grew up with and honored. And he used it to beat me. So I do apologize if when we first met, my distrust of magic, but I had my reasons.
Well, perhaps it's a bit of an understanding. If I would have distrusted you for carrying a weapon that was used to harm me or my family, then you wouldn't distrust the tool that was used to abuse you. The tool only does what its wielder intends it to do.
I think
Yes.
that is why this scares me. That my magic, it does things that I do not intend.
But
Wild
are,
magic.
are they things your ancestors intend?
I don't know, Seilu. I do not. This is uncharted territory for me.
I ask questions to ponder, not for immediate answers.
I will awkwardly put a hand on Kai's shoulder, used to doing it to Seilu and Mist, and I'm like, this is way weird. Look, we have plenty of time to figure it out, and there's no harm in learning more about it. Just like a child might learn to hold a sword or a stick or whatever, or ride a horse or hold a plow.
We'll try if you all will help me.
Of course, I've already helped Seilu and the others, and like Jubei says, I don't want anyone to use these kind of things for wrong, so I'd rather know as much as I can.
About that time, there's a knock at the door.
Thank you.
I'll go open it.
And right as you're reaching for the handle, the door opens towards you, and it's that awkward,
Oh, that's annoying.
But Merrill is standing there, divested of his bow and blade. The Mjarl is not at the castle, so I'll take
Is
you
it-
to some rooms.
Is that a strange thing? Truett said that he might be here.
Strange times.
Of course.
It is not my understanding that he will be gone for long. So, would you like separate berthings or a room for the lot of you?
I will look back at everyone else and raise my eyebrows. Perhaps together for tonight?
Uh,
We're a bit used to traveling together.
A room together suited us just fine in Schema.
Very well. Follow me. And without waiting, he turns and begins walking.
God, that's getting really annoying.
Excuse me.
Yes.
May I have a beg my pardon, a request of hospitality?
Yes.
Pick up my armor and walk it over to him. I have took some grievous blows and Hemlock, and as a sign of trust between my people and look back, my group, I would ask if you have a smith that can repair this.
Take you to him in the morning. Or perhaps the afternoon. You all look quite tired.
My offer is more symbolic of my people as well. I wish to let my armor down, as it were, to show trust.
There's a pause. That, like, awkward processing. Like, what? But the face remains
Why?
impassive. I appreciate the gesture.
Convincing.
The smith will be in bed at the moment. I will see it tended to.
If he spoons, I mean, maybe.
Follow me. He turns and begins walking out again.
I just look back at the group with a big dragonborn smile.
As everybody kind of starts to peel out of the room to follow along, Selu like rests their hand on Kai's forearm and kind of looks up at him. I understand not understanding, but if you believe in your ancestors and you feel this is where it comes from for you, trust them. And just kind of gives a nod. And then peels out with everyone else.
Walking through the halls, they are quiet. Many of the candles and sconces have burned down, but every corridor and corner is still lit. And along the way, you pass several guards patrolling, each of them in that same green surcoat with the shield and pair of sheathed blades on it. Until eventually you're brought to a chamber. It is a simple guest chamber, but it is definitely a guest's chamber in a large castle. Kind of get the feel looking around. This isn't where the dignitaries would stay, but maybe the dignitaries' guards.
Fair enough.
There will be food and beverage brought to the anteroom here, but the beds are in the room beyond. So take your rest. I will return, maybe not first light, but return in the morning for you.
Thank you, friend Meryl.
And he looks at Jubei. I'll have someone come check in for you.
And, Rick, like, Jubei used to think he leaves the armor outside the door like you do a tray in a hotel.
a little note card on it.
Grass, no starch.
Hilarious. I love it. And the room is well appointed for a visiting group, but like I said, maybe not for the VIP. But there are 10 beds spaced throughout the room closely, but they all still fit with enough room to get around them.
Are they small beds?
Singles, but sized for an adult.
Okay. Jubei pulls two together.
Pulls them together. Classic.
But the night is yours. Or early morning at this point.
I do not believe we have full reign of. What do you call this building?
I believe it's the keep or the castle.
So they're giving it to us?
No, no, it's
That's very generous.
not.
It is because it keeps us safe while we are in it.
Sure, that's a fair way to take it.
And almost like rolling his eyes, he like looks to Kai in this look of almost bonding. He goes, "You would not believe how difficult it is to rein in the horses during a fight. Those horse beasts. Am I right?" He's like taking his boots off, and he thinks he's bonding with Kai.
I don't even know what to say with it. I don't think I would say anything to that. I'd probably just give you a weird look.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. Unless there is anything you all wish to do.
I will throw my bag down at the foot of a random bed and pull out my deck of cards. And probably quicker than normal, pull cards thinking about Joseph. Do you want me to do it or just
Tell me what you draw.
because curious, and also we've been through some.
We've seen some shit, y'all.
I got the plant, the humanoid, and the paladin.
You're exhausted.
Yeah,
From just drawing cards.
my vision starts to blur.
You at first you think it's the paladin, and then you think it's the knight, and then you're like, it's the fool. No, wait, I'm the fool.
Oh no, it's me.
Yeah.
I'd probably just curl over.
Yeah. Is there anything anyone wishes to do at this 2 a.m. hour, 3 a.m. hour?
I'm folding my pillows and sliding my sword underneath the pillows so that it sleeps under my head. I can say this about everywhere I've been, but we are in a strange land. Attacked by... I've seen a bard do this. Giants. I don't know what these mean, but... you see two clawed fingers to that.
I love that.
You keep doing this. I don't know what it means.
It means I am not the crook.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He, then the strangest thing is, in every land we have bandit. But they like to steal things of value. I guess value is in the eye of the beholder, but, if I remember correctly, they left the gold and the jewels and were stealing metal.
Like tools?
Pots, pans, armor, farming implements.
I'm not a metal worker, but maybe that is that the same metal that you would use in a sword
Yes.
or a blade?
Or armor.
Do you
They
think
were
that's what they're
using-
doing?
They were using stone weapons, and some of them had metal, and it seemed, get me wrong, their rankings of their military, those in charge, had the nicer weapons. I struggle
Is that
for
not
the
a
word.
thing where you're from?
No. The warlords where I'm from they would have weapons made of rare metals, nicer made, gorgeous works of art. But even the lowly foot soldiers would not carry stone. They would be fitted with metal weapons, spears, arrows. I struggle with the words of common, but I believe we have an arms race.
It would
No, it's
seem
just
that
scene. Sorry.
You're fine.
We have a group of people with stone weapons racing to have more quality items.
But why would they do it now, and why would they seemingly just attack without any form of negotiation? I mean, I'm from here, and people don't really negotiate anything.
There's
But
several reasons people go to war. Faith causes a lot. Religion, greed, lust for power, which Reese, you've told me a lot about your land. That seems to happen a lot.
yeah,
If you have
since
a
the
people,
Starfall, yes.
if you have a people that are tribal, who up until this point, someone had to teach them that. Someone has shown them what to look for. Someone is leading them.
So do you
Which-
think that they're being pushed to do this?
Yes, I do.
Why would you want to start from scratch when you could just take what someone else has already built?
Because primitive people can be easily controlled by through superstition.
I know this very well.
I mean, you see his mind racing, as if he read a book on it. If I was to start a war, I would turn the indigenous people against another land.
To take something from the chaos.
Yes. There was an amazing general where I come from. He wrote the book on warfare. It was required reading by my father. And he says, my brother, he was better at it than I. He took to it
Eh.
well.
Do I sense anything from that? Like, Reese is like paying a lot of attention to Jubei now because he's given a lot of information.
Roll an insight check.
I don't want to say inside check, but
Jubei, are you intentionally trying to mask it after you've said it?
He does pause at brother.
okay. So I
He
just get
realizes
that
he
feeling
let
that
it slip.
we know. Confirmed, brother. Reese doesn't say anything about it, just probably raises an eyebrow. So do you think the best course of action would be to find someone to talk to? To sort things out without violence?
If you're, I don't know your people. I don't know how you practice in warfare, but this is not going to be an enemy they can face head on. This is an enemy that's going to come at them sideways, and I don't think they're ready for that.
I'm not sure they're ready for it. Regardless, I wasn't really planning on standing with them, but rather helping them. So if there's a way that we could circumvent it, fine with me.
If they're attacking villages from the sky to take supplies to fortify and arm themselves, they won't be meeting your military on a field of battle in an honorable fashion. They're gonna bleed them. They're gonna bleed them where it hurts.
Hopefully, Joseph has figured these things out, but if not, perhaps we can tell him in the morning.
Jubei.
If he'll listen.
He'll listen.
Jubei, roll an intelligence check.
I think Miss is the most intelligent of all of us. Which says a lot.
Yeah, he's the smartest. He stays out of combat.
Mm-hmm. Just don't do it.
The intelligence shows itself in different ways.
14.
Okay. As you are sitting here, the exhaustion of the day kind of setting in. You think back to the battle, the fight with this giant, and Reese says, "Find someone to talk to." When you think about it, you think, "Wait a minute." The the vowels and consonants that it used when it shouted Skeluda over and over again at the sky. Wait a minute, that's giant. And you think back to your studies and the GM looking back through people's character sheets and realizing that you did say giant.
Oh, gee.
You look back to it and think that was a name.
Flashback sequence.
That's why you didn't catch it, because it was a name. Maybe that was the name of the other warrior.
Oh. Now. Getting spicy.
Interesting.
Mist is just gonna go outside and start yelling Skaluda.
Wyvern shows up, picks him up, tears him away.
Oh, gosh.
But I am tired. I am exhausted. My armor is outside that needs to get repaired. And I probably smell like 3 sides of Navara. So, I could be waxing in my throes of exhaustion and grasping at strings that are not there. I just believe there's more to this than a simple bandit attack.
I certainly think so.
Perhaps
I feel the
Yusuf can tell us more of what else has been happening. Might put the pieces together a little bit.
Perhaps.
On that note, Jubei just lays over and
He's one of those people.
And Jubei's.
every like outlet of a snore, you see a little bit of fire and smoke.
I love it.
I shimmy my bed a little farther away, just in case.
He's got a deviated septum.
Okay.
His CPAP is actually like just billows for a forge.
Yeah, then I will promptly pass out as well.
Anybody
Mist
else?
would not be so quick to fall asleep, and would instead of counting sheep, use silent image to project the moon onto the wall or ceiling closest to him, and begin having it like shift hour by hour just a little bit more until he falls asleep and watching the moon wax.
I was about to laugh because my daughter has that nightlight.
There you
It's
go.
so cute.
I will, just for the sake of thematics, I want to use that ability right before I'm falling asleep, just kind of like speaking to my ancestors. So if there's anything magical in the room, let me know.
Just Reese is glowing again.
Right.
No, it's Lux.
So,
Within 60 feet that is not behind total
Yeah.
cover.
I just realized you've added stuff to that document.
Oh, there's a bunch. Yeah, sorry, those are notes.
No, keep at it. Keep going. I approve. I scrolled down and I was like, wait, what? So you see the amulets that 2 of your party are wearing. It's almost as if vines grow around them in your vision, and standing above them are old maidens, old folks that would be gathering and cooking in your zon rather than out riding and tending to the children. You can get a very strong sense of enchantment from that, and you get the feel of the maidens tending the heart and hearth of it. You also see glowing just ever so slightly from underneath Jubei's pillow. It's as if his sword has become a spear. And
That's interesting.
That's suspicious.
there's a lot of suspicious things in this house. Trying to remember all the different, and then the Lux has this faint glow of starlight about her.
He's so pretty.
Very similar to some of the visions that Novara has shown you about her running through the stars. And then the small token, the amulet, a simple tribal carved stone amulet. Are you holding it?
Yes.
Or is it on your person?
Yeah, I imagine I'm holding it.
You're holding it, and it's heavy, as if you're wielding your shield.
If I may add one more thing to the room, Selu would be kind of sitting upright in bed, but their Eskrima sticks would be sitting across their lap, like not fully trusting the situation. And you would probably see just an ever so faint glow on the what do we call it? The ink that they had used on their hands, kind of like lightly pulsing every now and then down onto the etchings into the Eskrima sticks.
I love it.
Interesting.
I love it. And one last thing. As the bright of the moon, let me double check the calendar here. Yeah. So with where you are in the cycle of the moons, the second moon, the larger, quote, boring moon, is rising. If Mist has anything to say about it. And they're coming through one of the windows. These windows are set 10 feet up, so they're not floor level, so you wouldn't get shot by an arrow if it was assaulted, kind of thing. But striking through is a beam of moonlight, and it rests solidly on two people, on Mist and on Reese. And after a moment of sitting there looking around at things, that conjured connection with your ancestors begins to fade, and then that moonlight just looks like regular light.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We some magical motherfuckers.
It's me! I'm the magic!
It's me.
It me.
We just are magic.
So magical.
The real magic.
Does that mean our punches count as magical weapon?
No.
Where's vicious mockery?
Mine might.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kai's mine, but it's a 1 in 8 chance.
Yeah, it depends.
So, the night passes uneventfully. Selu, you do hear, with the rising sun being a very light sleeper, barely kind of in a sleep state, you do with the rising sun, you hear somebody walk by the outer room and step into the antechamber, set something heavy down, and step out and pick up something heavy and walk away.
Given Selu's racial situation and whatnot, have I been asleep for a long rest period at this point, or is this like interrupting the middle of the night? Okay.
So you all went to bed around 3 a.m. and it's dawn.
Okay. Noted, but if no one came in the room, would kind of like roll over to keep like eyes on the door, but then quickly fall back asleep.
Lux is probably doing that cute thing where they the head on the paws, but they're watching the door, but sleeping.
No, Lux totally hears this.
Little ears, and then back down.
As long as there's no barking at 3 a.m.
She's not a barker. Never.
So the question to the lot of you is, you have the option to take a long rest, but it will burn half of the day. If you are a light sleeper and you rise with the sun, then that would be the chance to do so, but you will not have achieved a long rest. You are, however, not disturbed.
I mean, Reese loves his naps, so I feel like he'd be happy to sleep all day.
Selu manages the long rest in half the time.
Well, okay, Selu.
Okay,
We're not all as cool as you.
No, I just listen. But would
Yes.
not in any way, shape, or form like wake anybody else up.
Mm-hmm.
They will continue to like be attentive, be aware, probably check on what the heavy thing set outside the door was, but otherwise would let everyone sleep unless someone came to wake the group.
I was just curiously, I just made a Constitution save, and I rolled a 5, and so Kai is going to stay asleep.
I was about to say, I almost died, so I'm going to go on a limb and say that Reese is exhausted.
It
Mist
is.
managed not one, but 2 horses yesterday, so he's going to stay asleep.
He
That's a rough
did
day.
what a farmhand does before sunrise, and so that was a
Right,
full day of work.
right. That was a lot of work.
That was bonding with Kai.
Yeah. So Selu will basically stay in bed.
Also a lot of work.
Otherwise, and pull out their travel journal and do some catching up on documenting, doodling, etc.
Okay. If you did say you get up and check on what the noise was, right?
I checked to see what was left outside the door. Yeah.
So in the antechamber to this suite, there is a large tray of food, and nothing fancy by any means, but there. Pardon.
I was about to say, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was about to say, I just looked and there's nothing Jubei won't lose. He will rise with the morning and take a short rest.
Okay. So, rising as Selu goes and checks on this with the noise, Jubei's armor is missing. It has been taken.
Oh god.
And there is a note on the tray, just a simple folded piece of parchment that says, Jarl absent in morning will come for you when he returns.
Anybody else concerned?
Yeah.
I mean,
Am deep concerned.
yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Big
You
ol'
keep
big,
concerned.
big ol'
might-
big ol' heckin' concern. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a Jarl. He might be bedding down with a milkmaid somewhere. So
Maybe, but probably not.
Depends on what Jarl.
Yeah,
So
we're on the highway to the danger zone here.
Jarl,
Jesus.
Jarl Rufus.
So you all, as you do check on that though, and you look outside the door, your armor is gone, Jubei, but there is a guard posted at the end of the hall, kind of not subtly watching your door.
When
I
Selu
will-
pops out to check on the other stuff, having been the first one awake, they'll like look down at the guard and just like give a smile and a wave.
Hi, friend.
And then look down at this huge tray of stuff and look back at everyone sleeping and just leave everything where it's at and quietly close the door back again and go sit back in bed.
As you go to close the door, Jubei will catch it.
Oh, good morning.
Morning, just out.
They're still sleeping. I think
Fine.
they could use a little more.
I understand, but you know, time waits for no man.
Well, sure. If you want to get the tray, I'll hold the door.
You hear scratching on the floor, and Lux has gone between your legs and is pulling bread off the tray back into the room.
I had a
Like-
cat that did that.
You look right at her, and
She just-
she like freezes, like
then,
pretending
like-
if I don't move, you don't see me.
But then, like, does the slow move? Like, if I just move slow, they won't notice.
So
Ugh.
Selu pulls off a small little like crumb of cheese or fruit or whatever is there and like tosses it over to Lux as well to see what they do to choose between like the bread and the fruit and like what they do with it.
I feel like they would just they would just pick up the whole bread now and just run. like it is now confirmed food is for them. They will take with the food.
so Jubei.
Bringing the tray in for the sleepyheads. Just ignoring the fox creature. I slide my sword into my waist, and
Oh man, starting the morning off with seppuku, just going right at it. God, dude.
We just got here.
It's that awful.
the architecture's so bad.
The
Can't
people
take
are
it.
so rude.
It's so depressing. It's like Ireland in winter.
Or
Oh
summer.
no.
I can say that I'm Irish. So, walking out, I spot the guard as soon as I walk
Mhm.
out.
Yeah. And your chamber is at the end of a hall. It's very easy to tell that it's easy to leave a guard to observe people in this chamber.
I just walk towards him, and halfway there, just raise a hand in greeting.
Good morning. What can I do for you?
Yes,
Wow, they weren't kidding. Okay.
I know,
Oh dear.
big cheeky smile, handsome gentleman, am I not?
Aha.
So, are you our attendant? They
No.
said we would have an attendant. I figured you were the only one here. So,
Got him.
Got him.
I require a place to freshen up. I did not see a pot to piss in. So, is there a bathroom? Or-
Yes. Right behind you here.
Preferably a source of water, a creek, or I would like to bathe my clothes and myself.
Ah. Well. There's the washroom right there. And he points back down.
Thank the God you have heard of baths. Okay, so right over here, right? And go into the washroom. What do I see?
There is a large tub full of water, not steaming, uh, and simple basin rags. Very plain washroom.
What type of tub is it? Wood or metal?
It is wooden.
No dragon's breath for this stuff.
I mean, he can still make it work.
Yeah, I'm very much. I will use my
It's like
last.
putting a straw in.
Yeah, I
Like
will
you put a straw.
get undressed and bathe my kimono first in the clean water and hang it up somewhere. Laying my sword next to the tub and looking around to make sure no one's looking. Stick my spout under the water and
Yes.
So some of
Just
it
make
splashes
bubbles.
back in your face, but
Yeah.
you manage to have a warm bath.
You made the dragon turtle.
and just kind of lay in it with like the claws on the other side and the arms on the sides, and just like undo the hair, dip the hair, and just like relax.
Yeah.
This is how he becomes whole again.
Sure. So, time continues to pass, unabated.
Out of curiosity, given our time traveling together, like, just how deep asleep is Reese right now?
This is probably the hardest he's ever slept, which is probably why Lux is just out like doing things. Like she's just like whatever. He's literally out.
Okay.
And I imagine he's a heavy sleeper beforehand. Like he needed the coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
Only when it's a bed.
I
on the
was
road,
trying to decide
he's
whether or
normal.
not Selu was going to do something, but I don't think they would do it without talking to Reese first. So.
Draw dicks on his face.
Lux is just sitting there watching.
Impersonating. So,
Yeah, nobody else is in the room to observe, but Selu, the doodles and whatnot that Selu is working on at this point are variations on like the runes that they've been working on, what they've been working into their like the temporary tattoos that they've been working down their hand and wrist, and different combinations of them, working out what they feel like makes sense in the different individual runes that seem to be like coming to them, either through elven runes that they know or things that just seem like they make sense, so to speak. And God, I'm blanking on the specific term for combination of runes. Patrick, help me out here. Whenever you combine multiple
A
runes.
stave? That's a common term.
A what?
Like a stave of runes?
Something like that. I'll figure it out later. I think there was a different term that I was running with, but
Bind rune.
bind rune. That's it. Thank you. Working out different bind runes of like the specific ones that they're documenting as they sit there in their journal.
Lux is literally watching you, like sitting next to you, just like happy.
Say they'll stop every now and then, give him a little scratch on the head.
Bro, she like loves it, absolutely. Any attention.
All about it.
Jubei, the Demi bath that you have managed to accomplish for yourself is broken by the sound of running feet outside. About 45 minutes after you have managed to bathe yourself and hop in.
Just the pitter patter of heavy leather boots. It's fine.
I get up in whatever washcloth I bathe and grab my damp kimono and tie the towel around me. War destroys everything beautiful. And just straight up carrying the katana, the wet kimono, and a towel, and my hair down around my shoulders, walk back to the room.
Okay. So the sound of pattering feet was a servant running, and as you open the door, they look back and see you and start and collide into the wall, into the door. So you hear this into the door. Oh, I'm sorry. Whew. Wow. Man. Okay. Do.
Selu is up, opens the door.
Ald Merrill sends word. Y'all Kellner will be back in a few hours, so to be prepared for court this afternoon.
Prepared.
We haven't had court in a while, so that's going to be interesting.
I've never been to court.
Court.
That sounds fascinating.
Usually you need a lawyer, I say.
And as you walk to the room, like the servant steps out of the way and gives you as much room as possible to get around you. Okay, and turns and heads out.
But I took it back.
Someone please close the door.
Oh, sorry. We might want to get up and get moving, though.
Ugh. Just rubbing my eyes. Feeling awful.
So mechanically, for the group, since you chose to rest as a group, you will get to rest through the remainder of the morning, whether you're sleeping or not, and accomplish a long rest. Which means
Ooh.
level
It's that
up.
time! It's that time,
Oh.
friends!
Yeah.
You know, Reese, when I decided to ride in the boar with you and head north, I agreed to a lot of things in that discussion. You know, killing for you, protecting you, fighting, risking my life. Going to court with a noble? This was not part of that agreement.
You don't you don't have to come in to that, don't worry. Although I'd imagine you might be better suited for this.
Yes, and I'm better suited for a lot of things, and that doesn't mean that I want to do them.
Fair enough. Ugh.
So,
Okay, smash that long rest button.
and smash that long rest button, and then, friends, we're gonna level up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
What's everyone doing?
yeah, what's everybody doing? Jubei, what?
We're going to level 4.
All right, go ahead and roll your hit die for me.
All right, trying to take that level in Druid.
Bard.
Don't tempt me, College of Swords. That would be kind of sick. We're reloading round ones, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank God. Oh, even better. That was a wow, I'm a DM. I should know this. A D10 for a
Yeah.
fighter, correct? Yes, it's I rolled a D10, so I rolled a 10.
Nice.
Nice.
That max
Add your
roll.
constitution. Kai, what are we doing, man?
So I actually am taking a level in Druid.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
As I accept the fact that I am in fact
Some
doing
fries.
magic. Surprise! Alright, so it's a D8 for the hit dice.
That's a hit. It's a loss on your hit points there.
It absolutely is, but I have a decent amount
Yeah.
because of barbarian. So, and I rolled an 8. Hell
Nice.
yes!
Oh man,
All right.
Now I'm terrified to
Moving.
roll my hit.
moving strong here.
All right, Selu.
All right, I will continue another level in Ranger. However, just taking straight ASI ability score increases. So no feats this time. However, I am gonna bank in on one of the optional class features, and I'm going to change my fighting style.
Okay.
I will be. I'm not gonna give all the details on it, but I will be shifting from 2-weapon fighting to druidic warrior.
Okay.
Do you want to
So-
know if we're taking feet?
If you choose to.
Just for
You
sake of clarity on things before I start using cantrips that I didn't have before. So
I'll say it just because everyone's DMing here, and they'll realize the gravity of what I'm taking slasher.
ooh,
It is.
Oh,
Nice.
snap.
Sweet.
yeah, low level feet getting at
Okay.
That's murder.
it. Yeah,
That's gonna suck
I
for
was thinking
me.
about taking Piercer. That's a wonderful. Yeah.
No,
That's-
Okay,
I'm
murder
taking,
bot.
I was.
I'm taking slasher because it's the new feat from Tasha's handbook, and it
I've
looks
seen it.
very delicious for a samurai.
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
part of me moving away from the 2-weapon fighting is that I feel like Selu has actually been more combat effective than I really intended them to be up to this point. So I'm kind of moving into a little more utility and options, feeling like the magic has been growing a little bit in that route.
Sure.
Also on the expectation that other people are doing a little more of leaning into being the heavy hitters. So
Yeah. Awesome. Reese.
oh,
So
sorry,
Reese's-
I didn't roll that. D10
Oh.
on the hit die there. That is a 5.
Okay.
So
5 plus Constitution.
So Reese is real tired of getting hit, and so I'm taking a level in cleric,
Oh, nice.
and I'm taking the Twilight Domain.
Yeah.
very cool.
It is.
Ugh, I rolled a 4.
So what you're saying is Mist has converted you?
Right?
Body
Are
of the
you-
moon. Body of the moon.
Are you gonna run
Yeah.
around and be all emo, and your
Wu-Tang.
body's gonna sparkle, and you're gonna write UI novels?
Yes.
Uh,
So, last but not least, Mist.
So, being kind of literally pulled 2 different directions yesterday, taming the horses, and just the amount of physical exertion that Mist has been doing lately, his dexterity is getting significantly better. Moving forward, and he will be picking up a new spell as well that he has been
That'll
putting
be
together from pieces of things he's observed from others.
Nice.
That'll be exciting. So another level in Rogue then.
Arcane Trickster. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then let's see if so. Total average HP for my character is 21. I'm currently at 15. I'm gonna see if I can get past the 21 mark.
There we go.
oh boy.
And that's an 8 on my.
Yes!
Yay! There you
So,
go. It's about
wanna
time you
know-
got a good roll out of that, man. It's
Yeah,
been very due.
So excited to see something over the 3 mark on that D8.
Delu, what was your HP after the roll up?
My total is 38.
Okay, so I got you beat. Let's see if I beat Kai.
I
It
was
might
already-
take 2 hits to kill me now, guys.
Oh no. Same.
Congratulations.
total? Kai, what's your total hit points?
I have 52.
Oh
Oh
snap!
God!
Barbarian.
Barbarian, man.
Barb's doing Barb stuff.
I also have a high Constitution score.
Yeah.
You beat me by 4.
All right.
You have
Well,
double my hip.
with that, let you guys finish any leveling up choices and take a quick 5-minute break, and then we're gonna go to court. Hope you have a lawyer.
Sweet.
Oh jeez.
Mist is my lawyer.
Oh, you're screwed. It's like hiring my cousin Denny.
What could possibly go wrong?
What?
Article 6, subsection Z, it says that my client is innocent of all things.
So the
All right.
3 Ute. What the hell's the Ute?
All right. We'll be back here in about 5 minutes. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back.
Be right back.
Yes.
Ta-da!
Mm,
Welcome back.
mm.
As we left
Leveling
off,
up.
our friends and party members have had a long rest. Some of you do need to adjust your hit points on
That did
Astral.
not carry over. I
Oh,
figured
Lux
that.
didn't carry over.
Yeah, Bill, I need you to take me through how to link character sheet on Astral again. I can't remember how to do it.
Okay.
We can chat about that.
Oh, Lux's health doesn't go up.
Mist
That's
finally able
unfortunate.
to withstand a hit.
Mist finally has more health than Lux.
Oh, do I?
I think so.
I can't see Lux's health numbers.
Lux has
How much-
18.
How much health do you
I'm
have?
moving on up. Not the lowest on the hit points.
How much do you have, Mist?
23.
Okay, Navarra still has more health than you.
Hey,
Oh my
I
God,
surpassed
I have
Lux.
26.
Navarra's next on my list.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
having had the morning to yourselves to rest and recover, eventually, about halfway through the day, there is another knock on the outer chamber.
I imagine I've pieced together my clothing and like look a little more presentable. And I'll open the door.
Standing before you is Aldmerrill. Good.
Oh,
I see you all look rested. You definitely
Yeah.
look better than you did last night.
I have a feeling that that's not hard to do, but sure.
Fewer holes.
Yeah, for certain.
Not exactly setting a high bar for that.
No.
You all availed yourself to the bath, I see. As you don't smell nearly as bad. Right. Shall we then?
Lead the way. Oh,
Traveling.
I forgot to mention to everyone else. Quick note about Reese. His eye color has changed slightly. So now his eyes look a little bit more like grayish white. Like not quite glowing, but it's a little off-putting from like the blue gray.
Interesting.
Nice.
You up.
As we set off to go to court, Selu would have spent part of the morning trying to like go about attempting to look like presentable, and they've taken all the braids out of their hair. They have unfurled everything down into more of the like flowing dress kind of attire, and have left everything but their eskrima sticks in the room. The eskrima sticks like tucked into the back of the belt.
Oh shit.
That's
Um,
a good thought, actually.
Yeah.
I've probably left after what's his name. After Meryl's comment about my weapons, I've probably left everything but my sword in the room.
Since you mentioned that one.
and
Just fuck him, okay?
And what probably also would have happened before everyone else woke up, as they would have noticed a fresh coating of the ink across their hand down to about their shoulder, or elbow. Sorry.
That other joint.
Yeah, that one.
Sure.
If we're going into details about dress for the day going to court, this would also be in their fine clothes, and this might, I believe this is only the second or third time that you would see the fist or small fist-sized sapphire brooch pinned across their chest as they hold their kind of cloak over an arm, and they continue to carry their dagger with them through this.
This is less of a note on clothing because Reese still looks like a hobo, but he probably has the broken sword in his belt, and he has the mask hanging on the belt with his like pouch of stuff.
Okay.
And I think he probably carry a staff.
Jubei, are you gonna give us a courtly description as well? But
No armor. Kimono as clean as he can get it. Hair done up in a knot, and katana in his belt.
awesome.
Oh, that's right. Mist gets to wear his studded leather armor because it's that super fancy stuff that he gets.
Oh yeah.
The double-breasted studded leather.
Are you wearing your brooch over top of that then?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The brooch and half cloak would have been covering the arms on top of everything.
So, leading down deeper into what feels like the center of this fortress, you can hear the sounds of conversation rising up, the activity outside seeping through the windows, the lively town that it is. A horse when he's in the background at the track. It's probably Navarra. She's pissed.
Yeah.
But the stairwell you're descending merges with another, and then you find yourself back on the ground floor. And along the way, Selu, you notice occasional little drafts of wind along the way. Make a perception check for me.
God.
Oh, no.
It would like teetered on nat 20 and then flipped over to a freaking 2.
Yep. It's always the 2.
So that's a total of 8.
Okay. The butterflies, kind of mimicking Reese's magical fireflies, you feel rising in your gut a little bit, and don't really notice anything other than the cool air come at you from time to time.
I'm sorry. That actually does remind me of something that I forgot to mention last level up. That is a factor. This is actually something that I had to roll for class-related things. So we'll go ahead and do it this level. As we head to court, kind of like cleaned up, the grime of the road worn off, anyone standing near to Selu would get random wafts of cinnamon and lavender and not odd, but like comforting herbs.
Oh God, you're a Bath and Body Works.
What smells like fall? It's delicious.
And as it is,
I love it.
as the trials that you have undergone on the road and the changing seasons that you have experienced here recently, any further description from Selu?
30th of Thaist, where does that put us in the calendar year across things? I don't have that pulled up in front of me.
You are headlong into spring.
Spring.
No changes per se. That deepness of the green of their eyes just almost continues to seem to get deeper and greener and more vibrant.
Wonderful. Striking, one might say. It's as if there's a touch of fey to it. Who knows?
Ooh.
So, rounding another set of stairs, you all pass a pair of servants who look at you all and immediately start whispering to each other and venturing down a corridor. And there's this reminder with that action that, like, you're gonna stick out.
Mhm.
Arriving at the base of the stair and following a large 20-foot tall corridor as you're back into the original stonework of the place. The smaller chambers built off to the sides appear to be more recent additions in the grand scheme of life. And as you... My dog is over here dreaming. I'm still mad at him for stealing the strawberries off the counter.
Best.
But, right? They
Taking
were
one,
good, too.
taking one out of Lux's book.
So, as you venture down this large corridor, people step to the side to get away from you. Folks in various states of attire. We're not talking like high Parisian court here, but you could pick out maybe that person's a little wealthier, maybe this person's more of a servant type, and eventually leading to a large set of open doors. These doors, beautifully carved, dark woods, worn with age, but still holding their beauty. Vines and knotworks and scrolling all the way up them are set to the side, and in you see a large chamber, 50, 60 feet tall at its highest point, and a veritable sea of people compared to previous adventurers here. You haven't seen this many people since Schema. And standing at the head of it all, in plate mail, seemingly just returning and taking his helm off and handing it to a servant, Reese, you spot a familiar face. And right about the time you make eye contact, it goes silent.
Oh dear.
As the five of you stand at the top of the small set of stairs, the music fades, the sounds of the crowd fade, and all eyes of this 50, 60, 70 some odd people turn towards you.
Reese takes a deep breath and whispers, "Thank you, Meryl," and starts to step down slowly towards Jarl Joseph.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Like, we already stand out. Let's just...
Mist would switch to like almost that persona. Like instead of being Mist, he is now performing. He's in front of this many people, and having been in front, even recently, having been in very high positioned people, he would just fall into step of, oh yeah, I know, I got to walk down to this point. I got to take a knee. I got to look at the floor until I'm acknowledged. Like I'm ready to go. And this is probably the most confident Mist has been in days.
As Mist like steps forward, and Selu kind of like takes the notion of like, okay, we're going with the Reese, like that we understand that like we're going forward. There is a like just this exhale of audible breath. And as they take a step forward and that happens, Mist's cloak briefly, just for a moment, billows.
I have a cloak of billowing!
Temporarily.
You have
Just-
a Sailor
just-
glowing.
Just a single
sailor.
like gust that billows his cloak,
For
and
emphasis.
then it comes back down, and Salo continues along.
Looking around the room, you can see that most of these men and women are armed. Apparently wearing your sword is still in fashion here.
Oh, good.
Okay, good.
But your footsteps clicking off the stone do seem to fall in line with your heartbeat And Kai, as you step the soft leather of your traveling boots, stepping down, you feel that as well. But it's different. Kai, the sound of the footsteps starts to double up. So instead of do, 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 do. And for a second, there's a sense of limbo. As if your stomach has catapulted through your skull and you have flipped upside down in vacuum and no gravity.
Okay.
And then the crowd returns and the music starts playing again.
I look around at everybody else.
They are walking forward normally.
What the hell just happened to me?
Make a perception check.
I'm doing a concern. Okay.
Yeah, I was in the last concern party.
Hang on, it's a 12 on the
I
die.
mean, maybe that's this group's name. This is the concern.
The
party.
concern party.
Alright, that's a
concern.
17 perception.
Okay. Out of the corner of your eye, this swath of nobles wearing their nobles, merchants, warriors, commoners. It's not all aristocracy by any means. You see a figure with a dark hood low over their face. The hood turns towards you, and as you take a step and notice this person, the vision of it passes beyond a head and then is gone. So as if it disappeared behind the head.
This looks similar to what happened to me before.
Same figure.
Oh yeah. I want to retcon and say that I'm carrying a large wrapped sack. That is a severed head. But I probably wrapped it in like one of my dingier blankets or something.
Jubei's actually at the back of the group. This is not his court. This is their court in his eyes. These are their lands. So he is not going to make himself more present than they are.
Okay. There's a pause in the group as you're walking forward and the crowd is parting for you, kind of keeping a good 5-10 foot distance around you, almost like a safety bubble moving through the group, and the crowd fills back in and everyone's looking to see what happens. And from up at the head of the room, there's a moment of commotion as you hear, "Get off me!" Clink, 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 clink. Descending and shrugging his cloak off, wanting this young man to pick it up and gather it for him, as the young man is struggling with the buckles as Jarl Kellner is moving. Descends Jarl Kellner towards you. "Friend! Ah, you're a sight for sore eyes."
Same for you.
And shoulder to shoulder embrace and
Ugh.
hug.
Reese visibly relaxes.
And you swear if eyes could gasp, everyone around you is doing so. This is marked of a moment occurring before you. I'm glad you came. Wasn't sure you'd answer the call by any means, but and the lot of you.
We were all
Please.
worried.
Please forgive me for the way I behaved. It's been a rough little while.
I don't blame you. But I did bring a gift. It's better than salt, I'd hope. And I'll drop the
Oh.
sack on the ground.
Ooh, good line.
I was told that would be here. That'll be good. But first, this is important. He snaps up. And as he
Well-
snaps, go ahead.
I was gonna say, while he's snapping and he's waiting on whatever, is Mist near me?
Mist would be up near the front, like this is his theater floor. He's not hanging in the back this time.
Then, if Kai's hanging back, I'll whisper to Kai. I do not understand the justice system in this land. We met
I don't
Reese.
know what that means.
Well, we met Reese. He was a wanted witch, and if this is how they treat criminals, I don't know why he was running.
Yes, there's
As-
something going on behind the scenes.
As Kellner snaps his hand up, the sounds of the crowd fade again as everyone starts paying attention to what is happening in the center of the room.
Oh dear.
Friends! Wasn't expecting to talk to a group today, but here we are. By rite and ritual, I offer my home to these, my companions and my friends who have answered the call to help us in our time of need. Someone fetch me bread and water.
And I'll pull out the little bag of salt.
Ah, prepared, I see.
I know
Hey.
some people.
A tray of bread and water come over. By all that we hold dear, even in these awful times, we have to remember our manners and who our friends are and honor the old ways. So, I offer you the guest right. My home is your home, all of you. Any harm, ill will, or malice that comes to you comes to me, he says with a little bit of punctuation. By all you here as witnesses, please join me in welcoming friends to our hold. He takes the salt from you, sprinkles it over the bread, and breaks off pieces of it. Takes a chunk, passes it around, gives each of you from his own hand a chunk of bread and salt.
I will like raise the bread and like look at everybody, like do the thing.
And he consumes it and drinks the water
Same.
and passes the same chalice to each
I
of
do
you.
the thing.
Mhm.
I do the thing.
Kind of
You
like
may look-
tentatively and like looks around, but like very much follows.
It's like your first time at church.
Yeah, like
Wow,
uh,
that's uncomfortable. Thanks.
right.
Yeah.
No, definitely follows Reese's lead though.
By tradition and the guest right, this is your home. Friends, these fine warriors have answered the call to come help us in our time. Let us show them every hospitality. And on that note, is there wine?
It is 2:00.
And the
It
crowd
is 5 o'clock
picks-
somewhere.
and the crowd picks back up.
Yube's
And
still
they're-
holding his pee, sniffing it. The salted
Wait,
bread?
it's just bread.
Just salted bread.
Can I get butter?
Jubei, your food is better than this.
Yeah, it is. And as I'm chewing my mouth full of this piece of bread, well, I guess I know why we call it the keep now. He just gave it to us. He said it's our home.
Dear.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. I did not
Thank
think
you for
would.
having us.
I owe you all an apology.
It's
Praying
it is
time,
fine,
like I said.
of course.
I give a very respectful bow.
And
I'm
he
sure-
nods back at you, not really sure of the custom, but gracious for the gesture.
Sailor,
And Reese, like, looks
Selu
around.
gives an awkward curtsy.
Thank you for welcoming us to your very dreary stone home.
Mist will like step in front of Jubei. What my friend means to say is we are honored to be received as guests in this fine keep. It is a great hall that you have welcomed us in.
I thought
We
that's
appreciate
what I
the breaking
said.
of bread. No, Jubei, this is what you said.
This is what you really said.
Kellner chuckles. Very well. Let me get out to this armor.
Sure.
Where is Merrill? There he is. Waves him over. If they don't wish to stay, it's up to them. I'll be back.
There.
And he reaches down and grabs the sack and just hands it to someone. See that that gets down to Oren. Snaps to the servant. All right, I'm gonna. Better yet, why don't you just come with me?
I feel much more comfortable.
The rest of you, fine with that? Come on.
Sure. Sure. And just kind of like look around at like this mass of people.
And every time you look around, there is another person staring at you very intently.
Because you're so attractive. It's that touch of Fae.
The
It's so hot.
Sailor's gonna get some booty, some booty.
the
Wait, there's treasure?
That's a Dubé joke.
Reese, I am happy to maintain a seat in your presence if you wish to exit with your lord. And Mist just kind of turns around and welcomes everybody. Hello, court. Home.
If you'd wish, sure.
Kellner begins heading back towards the head of the room, and there's a double door opening. A large double door opening for him. As two servants push it open. He walks through and bids you follow.
So as he bids that, and I'm assuming Reese goes forward, what are Jubei and Kai doing? I know what Mist is doing amidst this.
I'm just gonna follow along with the group. I am very out of place in this social situation.
Yeah.
And I look the part.
Okay.
Reese probably looks back, and his eyes probably say, like, please, someone come with me.
What's
And
Jubei
for
doing?
clarification, it seemed as if he was inviting everyone.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I'll go. If it's a proper invitation, yeah, I'll go.
Is Mist
I
staying?
misunderstood that 100%. Yeah, I thought it was a private meeting between him and. Okay. Yeah.
He starts to be grand, and I just grab his arm. Please come along.
Okay. Selu would
Yeah,
have been
my
very
bad.
concerned with leaving one of the party completely on their own, regardless of how good in a crowd Mist is. Like, so if everyone is going, Selu will absolutely go as well. But Selu would not have left Mist alone amidst
And-
a bunch of strangers.
If
As
the
Sailor like pulls him, my apologies. I meant I will accompany you wherever you would like me to be, my lord. And he kind of kneels to Reese instead.
Reese, like, immediately blushes, like, I'm sorry, what? What?
And as soon as Reese blushes, Selu like takes Mist by the arm and is just like, let's just go this way, and just like pulls him along with the group.
I just picture Kai and Jubei standing next to each other, just watching this.
Kai, these are three of the most intelligent men I think I've ever met in my entire life. And when it doesn't concern magic, they're kind of stupid.
And as the sounds of court fade when the doors are closed behind you, you are brought to a smaller chamber off the side. A fire burning in a hearth and several tables set out with larger chairs, and there is a large armor tree off to the side, and immediately Meryl walks across and starts helping Jarl Kellner unarmor. Hey, apologies again for the show, but it was necessary.
Yeah, I have to be frank. That's my first time in a court with people.
Ah, well, you get used to it.
I don't think I would.
He seemed to do all right. And pointing at Mist.
He always, yeah.
To each their own. I think.
The Jarl
Mist
is
would take
correct.
the opportunity to immediately do the full flourish and introduction.
Oh, yeah.
What you see is true. I am Sir Mistlethar of Her Majesty's Queendom, a free knight of Iona. It is my second nature to be in such a place.
Right.
Your Jarl is correct. You do get used to it. But then you get sick of it.
I knew I liked you. Help me with this. And he starts.
I
getting at the
actually
vault.
start helping him take off his armor.
There's a pause where Meryl's very uncomfortable with you closing that close in a vulnerable position. Where Kellner is in a vulnerable place. Kellner just nods and Meryl backs off. Thank you. And Meryl stands close, but not threatening.
That really awkward close.
I asked him if he would like to help. It would be faster with four hands.
But between the two of you, you are able to help him remove his armor. Please have some wine, some food. There should be refreshments over there.
Does Jubei actively ask for help?
No, it's him and Meryl.
I asked Meryl because Meryl's uncomfortably close. That's what Jubei does. When someone's being like Meryl, he throws them off kilter by inviting them to join.
By making it more awkward.
More awkward.
Bonding through awkwardness. Haven't you noticed that's all Jubei is?
I understand you had a bit of an encounter on the way here.
We did. Going to assume from you removing your armor that you had something of the same sort last night.
No, all quiet where we rode, but we still rounded up as many as we could, and brought them back to the keep.
Has this been happening in other places?
Apparently.
Reese killed one on his own.
Listen, if you keep telling people,
Kai gets
they're just
an
not going to
interesting
believe
look on
it.
his face.
Right. You can't lie to me. I know he's no warrior.
Listen, you'd be surprised.
He might not
As
look
surprised
like
as I would be.
He might not look like one, but Jubei looks at Reese. He's got more of a heart of a warrior than most of the men I've fought with.
Now that we can agree on.
Reese actually shuts up.
Then the breastplate comes off, and eventually the legs and boots and all are removed. I hate that thing. Give me a gambeson any day over plate mail. So, have a seat here. And he pushes maps out of the way and invites you all to sit and finds one of the maps and lays it out in front of you.
So I'm not sure how much of this is coordinated between you and like Reese just pauses and like gestures, emphasizing the other,
Aye.
or if you're doing it on your own.
Right now, it's nay coordinated, but trying to make it work. There's more than one Dun still standing, and everyone's worried about their own. But if the wrong calls, we'll answer.
Do you have any plans, or just keeping people safe for now?
Here, let me show you. Change the brush color.
Do.
Here's what we know for certain. Dunrick is gone. Fallen. First place it was attacked. Almstad, Raven, gone as well.
Hemlock's gone as well.
Kelner Road for Trustar, Duntostar. I can't say he got there, but he's a strong bastard, so I assume he will be.
Unfortunate.
Duncoyne still standing, no problem there. Obviously, the bad news with Hamlock. Dun Alnar still standing as far as I know. Dun Pass. But if Dunrick's gone, it's safe to assume Dun Saloon's gone too.
Do you think they're coming from the north?
I kinda say.
Does the word Striga mean anything to you?
Are you using the word you remember from the encounter?
Yeah, what was it?
Geluda.
I was about to say Striga is a name for a witch.
It's also a name for a badass warrior
Yeah,
character.
thick ass vampire.
Yeah.
Galuda. Does that mean anything to you?
Nay.
Well, the problem is, this is nothing compared to what possibly is coming.
We got no idea. There's no way to know what's happening.
Oh, there is.
We know something.
These right here, and he'll point to the cities that have fallen. This isn't war. This is raiding. They're gathering materials. They're going after something bigger. You see,
Maybe I guess my home son, but didn't. Been at war my whole life.
and I've been trained for it most of mine.
Get a few more decades on you, then we'll talk. Yeah?
Do forgive me, Your Honor, but any general that turns down advice asks for a defeat. I merely wish to share with you information that we've gathered in Hemlock.
Very well.
When you have a raiding military force coming in, most of their soldiers would care more about going home with their pockets full. So they will tend to take anything of value of cities that they sack. The value that these manticore riding giants, as you call them, what they found the value was metal.
Aye. That's not new.
But if you notice, they were using stone. weaponry. They're arming themselves for something. Now, looking back at his plate mail, they're preparing to hit a target on an even scale. They might be gearing up to attack you here, or they might be gearing up for something bigger.
Be surprised if they're coming for Dunkellner. It's a long way away from the front. Duntashtar? Maybe different. But you're right, they're gathering material. Well, we're not sure what for, but he nods over at Merrill. Go ahead and tell him. I was not in schema with my lord. I was at Dunrick. They are dismantling the castle. Stone by stone.
Are they still there now?
Far as I know. And their raiders are all over the countryside. From the Elkwood to the Crownwood, and everywhere in between. They've even been seen over the sea. Attacked Delve once. That didn't go well for them, but it's been going on for a bit over almost 2 months now.
Where do they come from?
Near as we can tell, the mountains, the northeast. It's the shearing range, but we don't know where. No one lives up there.
Have you had
Well,
dealings
perhaps
with
they do.
these creatures before?
At this point, Kellner pipes up. Nay. There are myth and legend. Nothing more.
What were the
Till
myths?
now. The interesting thing for me is the fact that they took Dunrick and the towns close by and then didn't go nowhere. Most of us were farther south. They could have taken Bellini, Shelt. The hell, they won't even go anywhere near Shelt. That's an oddball in its own. But they stopped and started tearing down the Dun.
Does Reese know anything about Shelt?
Make a history check for me.
13.
Shelt is predominantly a logging and hunting community.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's like a little bit into the wood.
Yeah.
Not quite. Okay. And Halmstead is probably not in the woods.
Correct.
Noted.
I mean, there are trees, but not in the density of the forest
Right.
by any means. They'll raid just about anywhere. We've sent everyone from anywhere to Dun as best we can. But why are the buggers tearing down the castle? My castle stood for hundreds of years.
Built from the castle, or what is the castle's history?
Have we had any contact with these people aside from fighting?
Nay.
Have they made any effort to talk? Or just come in?
Nay.
So that'll be hard to do.
Are they just killing everyone, or are they taking prisoners, or
far as we know, there's some been taken captive from Halmstad and Thraven. Merrill pipes up. I can confirm that. Used as labor. Back at Dunrick.
But why?
There's a moment where every time Merrill speaks, it's almost as if you remember he's there.
Right.
Like he has this kind of absent presence.
I like it.
It's easy to guess how he could get close enough to see. Or it's easy to assume that he would be capable of, just by the fact that he almost seems to vanish into this well-lit room.
So in your
Super cool.
time in Dunrick, all you saw was them tearing it down. They weren't What were they doing with what they were tearing down?
Don't know. The beasts are smart, capable. A whole menagerie of creatures. But the big ones were directing the labor.
You mean the giant?
Yes.
You did mention that we found a small one,
Yes.
so they get bigger.
A lot.
Oh, jeez.
I sent the head down to Nana Oren. She's a physic. Just take a look. See if she can figure anything out from it. You're welcome to check in. I know you know your way.
I do?
It,
How can we best help you?
Here. He reaches over and grabs a rolled up parchment. Unrolls it. In hoping that you made it here, I took the liberty of drafting a contract for hire. If you're amicable to it, it means you could operate outside of, oh, what's the best way to word it? Tradition.
You're saying I shouldn't have to worry about strong.
As long as you have the guest right, no. But can I promise that he'll honor it out there? He knows who
Of course.
you are.
Sure he does.
A mask doesn't solve anything. It's a good symbol for the folks, though.
I've noticed. I've kept it.
There's something else. More for you than anything. Strong means to call a king's moot.
Of course.
That's what Schema's supposed to be. Earn the respect of the nobles.
How do you feel about it?
It's complicated.
Sure. But so is everything after the past 12 years.
Well, this is personal.
Understandable. I don't think he'd make a good king.
No, he wouldn't. But he needs legitimacy to call it And now he's got it.
What does he have?
Zafira.
Say it again.
Zafira?
Does that ring any bells?
Roll a history check.
All these history checks. I'm not good at that. 8.
No idea.
Yeah, Reese just raises his eyebrows. And what does that mean? Like I mentioned before, this is my first time in court. And Jubei had me warned that this was a trial and I would probably die, so.
Mist is the lawyer.
Aye, that's not the kind of court it is, but
Well, to be respectful, I tell him every morning he's probably going to die.
aye,
He does do that.
It's a term of endearment now. I go, "Hello, Reese. Good morning. He probably died today."
the
It is a
longer
shame that this is not that kind of court, because I would hate to overstep my position. And he just waits quietly to be acknowledged by one of the people in power before he goes on.
Aye.
You speak of legitimacy, and this person, who I assume we do not like, is vying for it, but Dantashtar still stands, and this is Reese of Dantashtar. Why do we not have legitimacy of our own first? Then could we not
Reese
challenge
pales.
such a thing?
Aye, he may hail from Toshtar, but no offense, you're better than most men I know, but he's not of noble blood.
So
Good.
the hunting of the witch was not of station, but of prejudice. This is an
Aye.
interesting take for a country at war with things they cannot eat.
I just shake my head and sit down at one of the tables at one of the chairs at the table.
So what does Saphira do for him? If this is a person.
There is pause, a long and awkward, pregnant pause. And Meryl says, "You've already said this much. I know. Sophia is my daughter.
What?
Mm.
Is she
And
there by choice, or
That's a good question. She's smarter than he is. In some ways more dangerous than that. But she's a good girl. Her mother would be proud.
sure she would.
And at that point, Meryl. I know. Saphira's 25 winters. Reese, this immediately rings a bell. Because in the time you spent with Kellner, you know his wife died 30 years ago.
Okay.
And he had no sons.
Right.
And the book didn't mention anything else.
Mm-hmm. So he wants to use this to leverage against you.
And to give himself a legitimate claim to the old Lothran line.
So we make sure he doesn't do that. Because that would be bad.
But one problem at a time.
Fair enough.
Could these not be the same problem? In Iona, we are strong because everyone rallies behind the queen. If we stop the descent of these strong, do we not allow people to rally themselves behind a single person? Who would take his place?
We've been trying to unify the country for years now, since the fall. Saloon, Rick, they were the outliers. They kept the balance.
Of course.
Wayne, Kellic, Pass. I can reliably say would not answer the call. Galen, Almar, Aver. I can't say. So that's their 5 to my 4. Believe me, I got enough trouble here. I don't want a crown.
So you would be the person to step in if strong was not an option?
Nay, I don't want it.
Then my question remains, who would fill the void?
I don't know want to talk about this no more.
Don't blame you, but how can we help you deal with this? That's going to be a problem, especially dealing with these people from the north.
Once again, Meryl. Can I say it? Go ahead.
Go.
Meryl pipes up as Kellner gives him leave to say whatever he's going to say. Lady Saphira Kellner. Her mother goes by the last name Una.
Oh. That certainly says a bit. Huh.
What does that
Kellner
mean?
rises and is almost like shaking. Turns towards the window, clasps his hands behind his back, but his hands are shaking.
Like anger or like upset?
It's hard to tell.
Reese, what does that mean?
Very quietly.
Mist would have an eyebrow raised, but no better than Tempest.
We may have met other refugees who mentioned Una on the way south. I'm not, like you said, I was born in Duntostar, but didn't live in a keep. Don't know any lords.
At this point, Meryl's pipes up again. Catherine Una is the last surviving member of the Lost Throne House that we know of, which makes my lord's daughter a royal.
As long as she is gone.
As long as Una is absent, yes. This is, however, not common knowledge, as and at this point Kellner turns around, embarrassed and frustrated, because I can't keep it in my pants. Apparently.
Listen, it doesn't matter.
Once!
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now. But times are different and things have changed. But
Aye, but it's disgrace on me, disgrace on her. And that makes Saphira a bastard. In a way.
I'm afraid that he might also have the crown and sword
Aye,
from Una's hold.
he means to give her the diadem and keep the blade for himself. It's the closest thing we have to what's left of the old jewels. Unless you want to go diving down and delve.
I can hold my breath for a pretty long time.
You know, looking at you, I believe it.
Well, halfway around the world and do it the same. Shit.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really care about lords and who's in line and who's next and what comes from it. But if it keeps him from getting any sort of power, then do what it takes.
He's nay as bad as his dad was, but he's still a bastard.
But not technically.
No,
No, that's the real bastard. Him.
not technically.
Hey,
His father
Mickey
went by the name Sigurd the Strong, but Strong is his last name. And so Aetheric titled himself Jarl based off the lands his father claimed before, well, between my blade and your. We took
You
care
could
of
just
that.
call it magic.
Aye. But that is a set of problems that can brew in the background right now.
As much as I'd like to kill a man, I'd rather do something else to help.
I
I'm happy to kill a man. What was this contract you were talking about?
I may have. No, I can't. I can't bring myself to even say that as a joke. This contract is for mercenary company.
Fair enough.
If nothing else, the fact that you're all a bit exotic and stick out helps keep that legitimate.
Well, there's only the 5 of us, and then there's a little whistle under the table. 7 of us, but
Right. I may make you do nothing, but I can hope that you made this far, so you'll be willing to help. The things I can see right now that need to be done. I need to know why they won't go near Shelt. I need to find out what's happened to the people of Halfsat, Thrayne. I need eyes on Dunrick. And then if I'm getting fancy and making a list, I need someone to go to the Crownwood and look for that old crazy man's tower.
the crazy man's tower, like, from stories, and I want to, like, do I know about this?
Um,
Sounds like some fairy tale stuff my mom would have told me.
yeah, I'm trying to think of what you wouldn't.
Is this something Mist would have heard about in a story?
Ooh,
No.
Okay. There is no good time to visit
Damn.
Austin.
There's no- never.
There was an advisor to the kings a long time ago who had a tower down in the Crownwood. It's an estate. The kings and queens would go there and vacation. Kind of became a bit of an oddity, but rumor has it the some of the heirlooms of the royal line are locked up in that tower, if it's still there.
And that would help with legitimacy or whatever.
I that one's a hope and a prayer, but it's there. But we have forces raiding from the sky, and they won't go nowhere near Schilt. They're tearing down a castle at Dunrick, and we know there are camps where people are being forced into labor. That's the near and best of it, as I can see. Strong wants to create a unified front and move north in force, but if these things can fly, they'll be behind us before we know it. And frankly, I don't want to give him any more legitimacy if I can avoid it. So, you see my problem. Kss.
But how can we best help you with it?
Well, I can spare the men for Schelt. That would be helpful to know what's there, why they won't go there.
We can do that much at least.
You speak for the lot of you?
They're here for me. Help me.
Personally, I don't know about legitimacies or crowns or who should or shouldn't be leading anything, but whatever we can do to help the people here. Whatever's best for them, to keep them from anything untoward that we can. Wherever we can.
Last rider I had from Schelt said that the creatures would nae come anywhere near it. The farmers nearby would just run back into town. No problem. A few farms got burnt. Some, it looks that the rest of you metal taken, but they won't go anywhere near the town. That's the only one that I know of, anyway.
Then it's worth checking out.
Has there been any of the others? Excuse me. Has there been any other stories of happenings around Schelt prior to this?
You'll have to talk to him about that. I don't know. He points at Meryl. But I can... Again, if that's where you choose to go, I'm happy to pay for your time and services. But if you sign this, my only requirement is that if you see someone in danger, you save them.
That is why we came here.
I don't think I need a piece of paper to do that.
If I sign this paper, do I also have your permission to invoke your authority upon things?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
If I sign this piece of paper, do I have your or can I invoke your authority upon things that we are dealing with? This contract under the name of you.
Not exactly. You're not wielding my authority like a sword by any means. Lostrin doesn't really work that way. It's not like Iona, where if you work for the Queen, everybody obeys. It's disparate, different powers.
Would your person garner any love or respect from Schelt?
There are nae in my sphere, my territories, so no, they're kind of on their own.
It's a shame. Perhaps you have a book of the people of that region or that region itself that I could study for the night?
Anything in the library you're welcome to.
The library.
And
Oh no.
wrong character. And the armory.
Then the armory.
I
Correct character.
If you need anything, just ask. It's yours.
Thank you. We'll check out Chelsea. For starters. And we'll find a way to get word to you. Fast. We have ways. And like I'll say that and like kind of like glance down to Lux, and then Lux, not giving a fuck, is gonna just turn into an owl and land on my shoulder. Like you didn't have to show off.
Don't worry about him. He's just a foul.
Make a perception check.
18.
Okay. So, and I guess I'll give it for passive for Kai because your passive is just stupid.
Sailus is 16 at this point as well.
Okay. 18 was the target. So, specifically making Reese roll for being distracted by. You see a dagger slide out of Meryl's sleeve, like pommel first, and then he slides it back. Just
Well, Assassin's Creed like flick.
no, it's a dagger. It's
Right.
not
But the quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Lux poofs a dagger, not magically, but seemingly magically appears in his hand, and then he puts it away.
Probably best not to do that again.
Aye, not in front of the common folk either. Well, these fuckers. Then he points back towards the door from whence you came.
I don't really care about them.
Aye, but they're the ones you need to convince not to kill you.
I think we're getting there.
Well, that's what the show was for.
Thank you.
So we're sell swords now.
Don't really have much of a sword to sell. But sure.
I have been far worse things. This is fine with me.
I traveled thousands of miles from home. And still I find men warring and killing each other over a title. King, emperor, all the same.
Then how would you like to help me stop it?
If I may, I suggest we start with what we can do to help these people. Don't worry about this business of kings and lords later.
I agree.
This is my first time ever seeing a contract for a sellsword that involved saving lives. I would consider yourself fortunate, Jubei, that you are breaking the cycle.
Order to respect your all, I mean, this is no disrespect to you. But when war comes to a land, it is, be it if it's dealing metal, tearing down a castle, trying to, what did you say, call it Kingsmoot. What's going to suffer now is what Sailor said. The people. If your contract allows me to help them, I will sign it.
That is the only thing I want you to do. If you can be eyes and ears and a blade to aid in that process, That is all I ask. And there's a moment where his frustration at the situation, his missing daughter, the invading force, all of it seems to go away, and there's a moment where, especially with your words, Jubei, you see a man pleading for help, not commanding soldiers.
We wake up every morning with one obligation in our lives. We go to bed at night, the world needs to be a little better.
That's a philosophy I can get behind. Not a lot of people around here have seen light in the darkness.
I promise to change that.
These folks, and gestures back towards the door again, can hardly tell the difference between what was before and now.
You live in a very dreary house. You
It's
need to
not
put
so
some.
bad.
You need to put some windows, maybe some screens, maybe lighter colors. Do you know there's this thing called paint? These stones are gray.
I think I'm starting to understand you a little better.
So will you help me, Jubei? To, at the very least, bring light to people. Fuck the kings and lords.
Reese, I will help the people of this land. You, I would lay my life down for.
And I do the same for you.
Oh.
I actually will hold my hand out to Jubei.
Just bump it.
Oh no! Oh no! I was gonna do the little like the
Warrior
forearm
clap.
grab.
Okay, we'll do the predator handshake.
Okay.
This one.
Son of a bitch!
Okay, drop me in.
Dylan!
I'm just not here to make a king.
Neither am I.
Frankly, I don't want a king. And I don't want to be a king.
I would also like to keep people from having to deal with the bad king, especially if the bad king does things like what we saw earlier, Jubei, the village we came into in Lost.
I have a very important question, Nero.
I
Do you have a post office?
We can get a rider out, but I can't promise it's safe. But we do send messengers back and forth.
Can you send a rider to Schema? The war is not that way, and I sent some packages care of Schema, and maybe I could send something else.
Are you sending them to Schema or elsewhere?
Elsewhere is the name of a fantastic place. I would love to live in a place called Elsewhere. But,
If I can get it, if you have post, and
I would
can
send
get
it home.
then I would send it to the ferry. They'll get it where it needs to go from there. In lighter days, if by home I think you mean what I think you mean, I would send Bayun beer, but it's a dangerous road right now.
You may just starts laughing.
They're all pretty dangerous right now.
No, it's just I struggle with your language, and I believe there's one that's named after a certain type of metal. I believe it's called irony, and it's funny. I leave home to escape something, and I find it.
People
Wah,
are the
wah,
same
wah.
everywhere, I guess. But for now, I guess there's a line here. What are we to call you?
Damn it.
Jubei looks over at Reese
Sean.
and Jubei looks over at Reese and looks at his little familiar. How about the fox and the owls?
Not a bad name.
Who?
But...
The Fox and Owl
No.
Company. So be it.
Lux gives like a really happy chirp.
So be it.
As good as
The
a name as
name.
I can think of.
Just the name.
But
We have to have one. I mean,
it'll mean we can spread the word. And everywhere you go, your name will grow. And it'll help bring hope.
I
to
mean,
some
we
people.
have Reese, and all of us are a piece of our land. We could call ourselves Reese's Pieces.
Jesus Christ.
Sounds like it would be a great name for a convention or tree.
A delicacy, something with peanut butter and chocolate. Yes.
Oh, you see, you grind up the peanut butter. No, I'm done.
You have to have it on a wrapper so it doesn't melt in your hand.
Sean, I retract my previous statement. Wu-Tang it is.
Thank you.
Negative.
Better than Reese's Pieces.
No, but Fox and Owls.
Fox and Owls is it's something.
Yeah. We can
Maybe we can like file the paperwork later and get a name change.
My
If
last
we need
troop
to.
of my last troop of money was a menagerie, and it's been dwindled to Fox and Owls. It makes sense for a smaller group, I suppose.
If you wish to decide in the morning, then that works too. But for
I'm
now,
sure we can think of something.
Two very underestimated predators.
That's for sure.
I can agree with that. But in the meantime, if you need arms or armor, just ask Gestures at Merrill. If you need a guide, just ask Gestures at Merrill. But
What if we need a courtly assassin? We can't. We get Meryl.
just ask. Though
I might take you up.
your friend probably has that covered. Then he looks at Mist.
I don't know if I like you or like annoying you.
That's his response.
Mist would give him the super sheepish, like not sheepish, but like wolf in sheep's clothing grin.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And immediately, whenever the conversation had ended and resources were allowed, Miss, I would like to see any volumes in the library with the most recent pictures of the other Yagos, please.
Sure, he can find you what you need.
Oh dear.
You talked to myths and legends in the region about these giants, about Dunkelner. Where would they be? Who would I talk to?
Honestly, not in Orin. That old witch has been, not literally witch, but that old hag's been around for a long time. She's as old as any of us, and she and her ma had some storytelling for a long time. So, but I think if you want to go see her, she'll be tearing apart that head you brought. Seeing what she could learn.
Noted.
She's down in the physic ward. I'm sure you can find it.
Sure I can. Thank you for everything.
No, thank Thank you. All of you. I'm grateful. And now, I'm afraid I need to go wade back in the battle. And he starts walking back towards the court.
Is there another door, like somewhere that not to go back in there?
I found over there.
Is there a better door here?
Meta will take care of you. And that, my friends, where we're gonna leave it for tonight.
Woot!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had forgot that we needed a name.
Yep. Ponder it. Deadline Tuesday.
Alright,
Oh,
alright,
jeez.
alright. We gotta actually make it.
Like we have to sign the paper and stuff.
Yeah.
File our
Deadline.
tax.
We
Tax
threw, out,
form.
we threw out some pretty solid ones when we were talking about it in between sessions, but we never really like landed on an answer.
No, we never did.
All right.
We'll figure it out.
No combat
figure it.
discussion, but still lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I still almost died. I would call that courtroom like I almost died.
On the inside.
Like, checks out. It checks
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I still use my fire breath.
You did, yeah, you did, and everybody managed to level up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Heck yeah.
you guys want to roll off for accolades?
Sure.
Sure.
Bill, you actually roll this one.
First dice roll of the night.
That's a 1d12, not a 20.
Was that literally your first roll tonight? Damn, my bad.
He's just so cool he didn't have to.
I forgot to do my puzzle box when I woke up. That's on me.
17.
Okay.
11.
8.
9.
9.
9.
Reese was 11.
Yep.
All right, Jubei, lead us off.
I'm gonna do it before anybody else can. Missed. Giving it to him with coming into the courtly swagger of being in a court.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Get to
Like,
see
do
both
it.
sides.
Doing what he does.
It was nice to get a chance to not be a cowering sissy.
Wonderful. Reese.
I'm going to give mine to. I think I'm going to go with Kai for yet again the magic conversation every time. Not only was it hysterical to like, come on, just say the words, just say that you're doing magic, it's okay. But also like the descriptions of the ancestor stuff is like a really cool flavor and like definition of magic. And it's just neat to
Thanks,
see. He's gonna do magic now. Can't wait.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Kai.
So I'm going to shoot it back to Patrick and in part Bill for that same thing. That entire conversation was really was a cool like role playing moment for me. A cool like character development moment. And honestly, if that moment hadn't happened, I wouldn't have taken that level in Druid. So that was super cool. So thank you both.
That's
Yeah.
really cool to hear.
Nice.
Hey, Luke.
Mine's gonna be a little more general. I really appreciated everybody's level up choices of kind of like how they progressed
Mhm.
and like the choices that were made. Level 4 is not often a level that's particularly interesting for a lot of characters. It's the first ability score increase mechanically as far as 5th edition is concerned. A lot of times it's kind of a little flat as a level gain, but I felt like everybody had a reason and choice for what they did and how they did it. I mean, Bill with the feat choice versus the ASI for like literally going into war and like building up towards trying to be like the heavier hitter kind of approach around that. I mean, the multi-class choices that occurred, Sean alluding to some things that he's been working towards. I appreciated everybody's choices, despite it being typically a less interesting level. Some really cool stuff that I was interested to see what people do with.
Heck
Agreed.
yeah.
Excuse me. And last but not least, Mist.
So mine's gonna go to Selu for subtle tidbits of just character growth and her character response as we enter this kind of cold stone area for the first time ever. First,
Mm-hmm.
we've been completely detached from nature.
That was cool.
And Sailor's response is finding safety in the wind blowing through it and trying to steel themselves in this very cold and natureless and heartless kind of place. So I thought that was really cool on Jacob's part.
I appreciate
I love
that.
that too.
I'm glad that got picked up on the difference of this place versus where we've been thus far. So
For sure. Well done.
For me, going down the list, Jubei, the one-liners in the court about like going to court, being on trial. That those one-liners were what stood out for me for Jubei. There was a lot of great moments, but that was like that made me laugh. So I really appreciated those moments.
No one has to be the comic relief.
Hey, and sometimes it's the samurai. That's fine. Reese, super challenging set of sessions for you, and seeing Reese boldly step into court with a mask at his side was a really cool choice. Like choosing who you are going to be was really wonderful.
Oh, as soon as Truett said something about it, I was like, oh, hell yeah. We're doing this.
Kai, we've said it already, the choices around magic and the acceptance of that and where you're choosing to go with that. I'm really excited to see where that winds up.
Me too.
And your reaction to the hooded dude that keeps showing up. I'm
Odin.
When you started describing it, like I thought that like everybody was seeing it, and then I was like, wait, this is just me. What the hell?
How does it feel, huh?
That's how I felt when I didn't
welcome
get a
to
dream.
class mechanics hide around your ancestors.
Yeah.
Oliver feels you.
But is it my ancestors? Is it?
Right.
Is it?
Is it Oliver's ancestors?
Uh-huh.
Hey man, multiverse. Bill and I have already decided these worlds exist in the same pantheon of multiverse.
Oh, they have to.
So,
That's fantastic.
Love it.
Yeah, there's going to be a legend in Straterra about a world that was struck with meteorites.
I love it. Selu, we've already touched on it, the finding comfort in the breeze. I hate that some of your roles wound up the way they did. To not elaborate on that further, but I'm excited to see where that goes. But that was a super impactful character moment, and redrawing the ink as well, just that holistic aspect of it was really fun character points. And Mist, we've already said it, but the transition of who Mist is, like there's these warring personalities of who Mist is, the performer versus the background, the person who wants to fade and disappear into the background. I love seeing the differences between those two. That is always fun.
Mist knowing like when to play to his audience, I think.
Oh yeah.
Is a cool aspect of that, of when he's comfortable enough to just be at home with his people versus when he knows he needs to put on a show.
Yeah. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for suffering through my absolutely terrible Scotch-Irish accent.
No,
Not at all.
no.
It's one I've been working on. It's not very easy. As far as inspiration, it's honestly a tough one because it was a little slower of a session. Lots happened, and it's much like the last session, building towards things. Oh man, but I think I'm gonna give it to Kai for the ancestor, uh, like learning to trust your ancestors and leaning into that, and that interaction that you had with the other characters built around that.
Thank you. I will gladly accept that.
Yeah.
Get it.
So next session will be next Tuesday as we this
Yeah.
weekly format.
Woohoo.
And if it works, we'll keep it up, and if it doesn't, that's okay too.
Yay.
Uh, and then so player deadline next Tuesday. Group.
We'll get it figured
Yeah, we'll
out.
get a group.
We'll get
I'm
it figured
perfectly
out.
happy with Fox and Owls.
Oh, Lux is perfectly happy with Fox.
Wait. Next Tuesday the 10th.
Yes, sir.
I got something planned.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, playing D&D.
I was gonna say, is it D&D? Because that's the right answer. Freaking D&D.
Yeah.
Oh man, weekly games. I love them. I miss them.
Exciting.
All right.
Very excited.
Thank you, those of you zooming in or tuning in and watching us.
Zooming in.
Zooming in, yeah. Thanks for checking out. Sorry it was a little slower an episode. No fun, exciting combat this time, but we'll see what happens next week.
It's not all
Yeah,
combat.
Could have been a shopping episode.
Yeah, it could have been. Instead, I'm just gonna hand wave that you got what you needed from the armory.
Ooh, full plate. All right.
we'll see. We'll see on that much. But
Do you make him up?
clink, 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 clink.
Guys, they're just giving it away.
There's so much.
He's wearing like a horse is barning.
Jubei says this, and Mist walks out with like 3 different sets of something to like go sell.
Yes.
Somewhere.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching after the fact. Those of you that are, we love you very much. Remember, being kind is a free action, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.